Okay, my students had a chance to work on looking at some problems that deal with ordering integers and comparing integers, and they had a chance to work on this yesterday and come together and figure out which of the items that they still had some trouble with. So I'm going to make this video for them for that. Number 16, let's go ahead and look at this one. It says that Ken and Michelle, I'll zoom in just a little bit here. It says Ken and Michelle played golf last weekend. Ken scored -7 and Michelle scored a -8. Describe the relationship between these two scores in words and as an inequality. Explain your thinking. Well, when I look at this problem, right off the bat, I'm thinking that I want to use math practice number 5. I want to use my math toolkit to solve it, and the tool that I'm going to use specifically is going to be a number line. So I'm going to get another piece of paper, and since I don't have a number line made for me, I'm going to create one here. So, and I'm going to start here with 0, and my positive integers would be on this side, but we're dealing with all negative numbers, -7, -8. So I'm just going to go ahead and put -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. I have to go a little bit farther for -8. Now I'm going to put a little dot to show where -7 and -8 are on the number line. So here's where -7 would be. Here's where -8 would be. Now we learned early on that the farther left you go on a number line, the less value you have. So because -8 is farther left than -7, I know that it has less value. So I could write down this one when I describe the relationship between the two scores in words and as inequalities. I'm going to say that in words, I'm going to say that, and since they got -7 listed first here and -8 here, I'm going to put them in that order. I'm going to say -7 is greater than -8. Now that's putting it into words. Now when I put it into an inequality, I'll say -7 is greater than -8, like that. So that's what makes it look like an inequality. Now if I were to explain my thinking, I might simply say that on a number line, -8 is farther left than -7. And when I say farther left, I'm talking about relative to 0 there. And since it's farther left than -7, I know -8 is less value than -7. So -7 is greater than -8. So I talked about my math practice, number 5, math toolkit. In this case, I used a number line. And I showed my process on how I came up with my answer, and I showed my answer. Now, I explained my thinking verbally. I'm not going to write down my explanation, but my students, hopefully they've got written down, if they got this item correct, that because -8 is farther left on a number line, we know it has less value than -7. We know -7 is greater than -8. Another item that my students had a lot of trouble with was number 18, the challenge item. Now it says in the problem, order the following numbers from greatest to least. Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to convert all of those values to the same type of number. I see I have, out of the 4 numbers, 3 of those are decimals. Only one of those is a mixed number. So I'm going to convert that mixed number into a decimal as well. Now, when I look at -3 here, -3 2/7, -3 is going to be my whole. And I'm going to put my decimal point there. Now, to figure out what the decimal part is, I have to divide my numerator by my denominator. In this case, I'm going to say 2 divided by 7. Now, I cannot get any groups of 7 out of 2. So I'll put 0 here, and 0 times 7 is 0, and I'll put 1, 2. I'm sorry, I'll put 2. I accidentally saw that right there and thought it was a 1. So I'll put 2 here, decimal, 0, bring that 0 down. Now I have 7 and 20. I can get 2 groups of 7 out of 20. 2 times 7 is 14. 20 take away 14 is 6. Put a 0 here, bring it on down, so I have 60. 7 will go, and let's see, I can get out of 60, I can get 8 groups of 7. 8 times 7 is 56. 60 take away 56 is 4. 0 here, bring it on down. Okay, now, I'm not going to go any farther. And the reason I'm not is this takes it to the hundredths place value. This goes to hundredths, this goes to tenths, this goes to hundredths. So I'm just going to stop at 28 hundredths. So negative 3 and 28 hundredths. Now, I'm going to solve this one just like I did the previous item. I'm going to use my math toolkit, number 5. And with that toolkit, I'm going to make a number line. And this number line, put it right here, this number line, we have negative and positive numbers. I'm going to try to do a little bit better job making it longer. And I'll put 0 here. Now, when I go into this territory, I'm in negative territory. And I know that negative 3 and 28 hundredths will be somewhere right around here. And I know that negative 3 and 53 hundredths is going to be farther left. So I'll put it over here. And over here, I see I have 2 and 5 tenths, so I'll put it here. And here I have 4 and 25 hundredths, so I'll put it here, 4 and 25 hundredths. Now, I have ordered my numbers according to the number line. But if I'm reading from left to right, this is the least value. So I cannot just say, look at my number line and I've got them ordered. I can't do that. I have to actually order them from greatest to least. And according to my number line, the value that's farthest to the right is 4 and 25 hundredths. Then I have 2 and 5 tenths. Then I have this negative 3 and 28 hundredths is equivalent to this negative 3 and 2 sevenths. So I'm going to say negative 3 and 2 sevenths. And then finally, the least value is negative 3 and 53 hundredths. So, I talked about my math practice. I was going to use my math toolkit. In this case, I was going to use a number line. I showed my process. And I answered the question. So I feel like I got 100 on that one. So I hope that this video has helped my students.